What effect do you think this is going to have on them going forward?
I think firstly it's a very honest appraisal, and I agree with him. I think they've come a long way from last season where they were to where they are now, so they've got to take huge credit individually but collectively also. But this is a big game. We all knew how big this game was and important it was for this season, and I think it's going to be the reaction. It's really important in these moments how you react as a team. Yes, you've got to dust yourself down individually, but you've got to come back into that training ground. And who are going to be the leaders in there? Who are going to get these guys up again to go again in the next game? They've got to finish the season strongly and bounce into next season. They can't afford to finish on a low and finish on a real low just because of this result or because they don't win the league. If they don't win the league, there's still a long way to go, but they have to react in the right way.
Do you feel tonight he got his tactics wrong, Martin?
Well, we talked, didn't we, about the manager had a dilemma before the game. He wanted to go and press from set pieces, particularly. We heard De Bruyne saying that they had a plan for that. I think as well we have to be careful we don't go over the top with the criticism because of what Arsenal have achieved so far this season. OK, nothing's won, but they're in second place. They're going first and second here tonight. And what they're up against, the two central defenders. De Bruyne has got 100+ assists in the Premier League. And the other fella's a scoring sensation, 49 goals. So these are probably, as a combination, probably the best we maybe have ever seen in the Premier League. And this long ball here, this first ball, we're talking about contact. You either win that ball or you create a foul. And De Bruyne there's running free there, and Partey's got to pick that up. And this was happening too often. They were second best in these situations. Look, he goes in there, loses the ball. De Bruyne again, okay, he's in through again, and he hits that one. And it's a soft belly of the team, but they're playing, that's the strength now of this Man City team.
Martin, where is the leadership in there just for someone to say, right, I can't handle him at the moment. Yes. Right, Partey, come and stand on his toes. Don't let that one ball beat us all and go into his chest so he can dominate us.
Yes, but that's against the philosophy. Approach. That's against the philosophy of the manager because he wants to press and Partey's up the pitch. Yeah, they're not sitting deep to deal with
his
those.
philosophy. He had to change it from a winning philosophy. He said, we went to Emirates and we won. I wasn't happy. I had to change something. Mikel Arteta's faced Pep 3 times this season, 4 times or whatever, and they've lost every time.
Yeah, and
he hasn't changed.
But he's lost it trying to win it sticking with his philosophy. And I said that was the dilemma. And maybe now we look at that and see that they were really exposed at the back of the team there today because they tried to press and they weren't able to win the ball high. The long ball done them every time.
What I believe what the game's telling us tonight is that there's still a massive gap between the two sides. There's no doubt about it. I think Mikel was really brave because he wants to stick to his principles. Because if Partey is staying behind, they will create the overload and they're always going to manage to play through the line they have. He decided, and I think he was brave enough, and he said, let's go and let's put them under pressure. And they were man-to-man at the back. And when they decided to go long, and I think Mikel explained it quite really well, what he was really disappointed, and he used the word hard work and duels and commitment and to compete. And he felt the team didn't compete enough, and I completely agree with you. I think on the second ball, it wasn't enough Arsenal players around to compete for that second ball.
Well, Patrick, can I ask you a question? In regards to the outcome between Haaland and Holding and Gabriel, was you surprised by Haaland dominating them?
No.
Exactly. So why are we standing here saying he was stuck to his principles when we're not surprised that was the outcome? Surely you assessed that before the game and realised that is a threat.
I think what surprised him was how well that Man City adjusted to that and really went after them. Because in the FA Cup game here, Arsenal lost 1-0. They did that really well. It worked for them that day. OK, they lost. Yeah. But it wasn't the same gulf that we saw today. It was, 4-1 flattered Arsenal, really. It could have been 6 or 7 in that first half. And that's the most worrying thing for Arteta this evening.
Arsenal went man-to-man at the back in that area a lot of the times and couldn't compete. And I think sometimes in-game management in them situations, not just from the manager, from players, sometimes you've got to be humble enough to go, listen, I need some bodies around me. Get that to the touchline. Speak to the manager, even at half-time, and go, listen, we at the moment it's just not going our way. We need a few more bodies around us, build some confidence, maybe go back to that again. And them tweaks in-game can happen. Today it didn't happen, but sometimes when occasions like this, and also, it can be a whirlwind and take the game away from you so quickly, and I think that happened today with this team.
You talked about that gap, though. Even if Arsenal win their remaining 5 games, they're going to be on 90 points and potentially not win the title. Does it all just show what a formidable opponent this Man City side are?
Of course, that's just telling us that, there is City and there is the rest of the teams. I think when you look at the last couple of years, City always managed to win the league or finish second. There is a consistency on where they finish on the table, and they're still far ahead from all the other teams in the league. So there is a lot of work to be done by Arsenal and from the lack of Chelsea, the lack of Liverpool, United, to be back and to compete and try to compete a little bit more against City.
Let's talk about the treble then, because I know Rio loves it. Are City fans going to be talking about 23 the way Man United fans talk about 99? Can they win the lot?
I think you'd be stupid if you was to kind of write them off and say no. The fixtures that they've got coming up, potentially here on that table there, they could win every game. They've proved that these guys, the amount of points that they've amassed over the last few seasons, they could win every. Listen, the big one is Real Madrid, because no matter the form Real Madrid go into that game, we've seen the historic, the history they've got in that tournament. They can pull a performance out of nowhere. They have world-class players all over the pitch and the experience to match this Manchester City team. I think that's the big one there. And obviously the Derby FA Cup final, you never know what's going to happen there, but they'll obviously be big favourites. But can they do it? Yes, they can.
You want to spoil the party?
Of course.
The Champions League, though, as Rio said, that's the games that really stand out, Joleon. But with Haaland in there and with the way this City team are defending now, how well equipped are they to win it this season?
Oh, it's their best chance. I think they're comfortable out of possession. They suffer comfortably, and they have a direct nature with Haaland as well. So yeah, in regards to their assets and their capabilities, it's a different aspect to what City was last season. But yeah, Real Madrid is the Man City domestically of the Champions League, because the history, the experience, the atmosphere at the Bernabeu, that is something that you can't replicate throughout Europe. So that is the one that Man City will be looking at to say if we get through that. I think
Patrick said it off air when we were talking. This Man City team have a confidence that no other team. It's borderline arrogance and nice arrogance, but that confidence where they walk out and expect to win football matches, no matter the pressure, no matter the situation, and that is something that none of the other teams are anywhere near at the moment.
John Stones referenced that in his interview. He said, we've been in this situation, we have the experience, we know what is needed in these big games, and they come out and execute.
And they're the really crucial period of the season where you want all the players to be at their best. And there's a lot of City players who are playing the best football at the moment. We didn't mention Grealish on the left-hand side. I think today we didn't see him a lot going offensively, but he worked really hard on his left-hand side. And those kind of performances and having those players at the top of the game will give them a really good chance to
competition
go
for places. Mahrez sitting on the bench tonight. You know, it's unbelievable. They're all at boiling point, and they're in a zone. You could see it in their eyes, couldn't you, in the tunnel when they come out? You know, they've just gone to work tonight.
Is that down to the manager, though? He sort of seems to build them up into that crescendo.
He talked earlier in the season that he was envious of Arsenal because they had that fire in their bellies. Well, it's certainly back now with City. And those trophies are there. That's what they want. They want those in the cabinet. And who's going to bet against them? They really are irresistible at the moment.
Also, the depth. I think you can't look past the depth that they have with this squad. You see, like, Walker's been out for a few weeks, comes in, nothing. There's no change. The performance, high level, 7 or 8 out of 10. Like you say, the players that are coming off the pitch, a lot of other clubs, they're not playing and they're moaning, they're upset, they're a problem in the change room, which the manager's got to manage. These guys come off, they know there's a world-class player coming in, but they know the bigger goal is to win. And it means someone else is coming in. That means I must be resting because I'm going to get another opportunity. Phil Foden, started the season, was flying. Not playing, comes in, still smiling. Might not be happy, but doesn't show it. It's a real team ethic here. It's phenomenal what he's created here at the club.
He's used the fewest number of players of any team in the Premier League, but they all seem to get just enough minutes where they're all hungry and they're all just ready when they come on. Just how difficult is that to manage a squad like that?
It is really difficult, but I think the message has been clear to all the players who play for Manchester City. Is a common goal. We are together. You have to accept the decision from the manager. And Pep mentioned it quite really well when we was here. It's about the football club. The institution is bigger than the individuals. And when players understand that, then the job of the manager became a little bit more easy. But all the credit to Pep and this football club because they are building a really strong football club.
Patrick, sorry, Lindsay, but Patrick, when you're a manager, is that a really, really big part of management? I know we can all talk about tactics and we've been talking about how great he is, Pep, but that managing the individuals, ones that aren't playing, ones that are playing, and just managing the ambience in the squad?
It is tough, of course, but the institution, it is something that will dictate the rules of the football club. And the players, when they understand where they are, they will follow the rules. And of course, when the gap with the door is a little bit open and players feel that there is something that they can complain about if they don't play, then it became a more difficult job for the manager. So it's not just about the coach, about how he will manage the team. It's about the football club. The message has to be clear.
If you're not putting the club first, you may be out of the door. Cancelo being the example.
Yeah, listen, I don't know what's going on in this typical situation, but it's clear when you're looking at Mahrez on the bench, who played fantastically well, scored 3 goals, and you may going to think that you're going to start the game, and the next game you're on the bench.
It's quite a message to the lads, though, isn't it? When Cancelo is, hey, you don't behave yourself. We know you're frustrated, you're not playing, but off you go. I think tonight, actually, Grealish is a really good example of a player who plays for Villa without any kind of rules, and he comes here and he doesn't really get. This is his best second season, but only now we're seeing the brilliance of his play, and running back as well to deal defensively with problems is something. It shows you that everybody has to abide by the rules or you don't play.
He's so humble, huh?
Well, as Martin said, it could be another 3 trophies by the end of the season.
We hope not, obviously, but no. But I think, listen, there's no one more deserving than him. The way he commits himself to this team, the way you can see he's committed to working hard. And when you speak to him all the time, we have him out here. We're lucky enough to get to speak to these managers. One of the common themes when he speaks is he's about work ethic, about working hard, and you see that with all of these teams that you look at. If you analyse them, we can talk about how nice they look and how pretty they are to watch. One of the staples of these teams is the work ethic and how much they put teams under pressure, high up the pitch, demanding these flair players even to be part of that high press.
And how impressed have you been with the way he's changed and evolved as a manager, Patrick? Because he's gone in a way from that idealist to more of a pragmatist, talking about all the different ways that this side can win a match.
I think he mentioned it quite really well. It's the quality of the players that he had to work with. So he's looking at the opposition and with the players that he's got in charge, try to find the best way to win the game. And when you're looking at the players from De Bruyne to Akanji today was, I think, fantastic today. They managed to find a tactical side to put the opposition team into a difficult situation, and all the credit to him. He's really clever. I think it's his work ethic, his determination, and the way that he finds to manage to get the best of the players, it's something really special.
He's the driving force, isn't he? They're good players, but they need to be managed, they need to be positioned, they need to take on board the information. He's brilliant at getting that across. You've just seen successive players. Haaland took a little bit of time to gel, but now it's there. He looks like he's gone into other gears. He's just today he was like Tarzan on the pitch. I know he let his hair down in the end, but
better player with his hair down, Martin.
I think he was a better player. Now he's settled in, let his hair down a little bit. He looked even better. Well,
you've all talked about Kevin De Bruyne, a man of the match performance. Let's look at his second goal, Joleon, because they were 2-0 up at half-time, and that was the one that sort of really sealed it.
Yeah, again, you'll see here a mistake from Odegaard, uncharacteristically, but Kevin De Bruyne pounces. And then look at the difference between the intent to get forward and the intent to get back. And he's clearly there, and holding there gives him too much space, gives Haaland initially too much space to make the pass. It's an easy pass, and then all of a sudden Kevin De Bruyne does what he does best, and that's pass it into the net, because for whatever reason it seems like a lack of communication and it's gone through his legs and blinded Ramsdale.
Holding's got to come up to the ball there. He's got to be more aggressive. I mean, De Bruyne, they exploited that weakness in the middle of that Arsenal team at every opportunity.
A brilliant performance from him tonight. Haaland as well this evening, and he got his goal at the end of the match, Patrick. He had really good chances all through the game. Did he deserve it when it came?
He fully deserved it. I think he had some really good chances, and that is another one. His movement around the box is quite really good, and here, of course, the really good touch from Foden and a really clinical finish, and that is his strength, his movement, and he deserved that goal.
And even in that one clip there, you see that goal comes from winning the first ball. The ball gets played up to the striker for Arsenal. The Man City player comes through, wins the ball, and that aggressive nature is the catalyst and is the foundation of this performance. And that's where Arsenal were lacking today. They didn't have that aggressive nature. They didn't win the first balls. They weren't aggressive enough. So, and you get punished. And it doesn't matter what league or level you play in. If you haven't got that aggressive first contact, or you haven't got that intensity in your game, don't care how good you are talent-wise, you will not get over the line and get your 3 points. And they proved like that today.
You asked me, didn't you, what was I thinking in the tunnel? And I was thinking, if I was playing, Haaland's going to be all I'm thinking about. My first physical contact. Well, he lost that battle holding. The very first challenge, that's where they concede that first goal. You've got to put your marker down, you've got to be physical, maybe take a booking, but you can't allow. Haaland was just strutting around, honestly, right at that pitch. It looked really easy for him at times, and that's something where these young Arsenal...
It's got to hurt. What was missing out there tonight?
Well, we were beaten by the better team, that's for sure. They were exceptional today, and when that's the case, it's extremely difficult to reach that level, and we were nowhere near enough our level, especially in the first half. And when you open that gap against them, you get punished.
Yeah, they set the standard, but did they change tactics a little bit? Did they catch you with the long ball tonight?
They've been doing that. They did in that previous game. When you have in one corner and they kick it 60 yards, they win that duel, they run through you. You have to start first of all competing and winning your duels, and all the very basic things today against this team. We didn't do them in the first half, and we were punished, and we could have been even more punished because a set piece we concede from our own throw, an open goal. Very difficult.
And they scored early. That knocks a bit of belief out of the players after 3 successive draws as well.
It does, but especially, the way we were in the first 20-30 minutes. They were on top of us. We could not handle that situation. We not compete well enough in every duel, and it has to start like that. The game that we proposed, it was being extremely, extremely direct, and we knew that they have the capacity to do that because they can stretch you the pitch 60, 70 yards with his goalkeeper. And first of all, you have to be in the right position, then you have to compete for that ball. And once we won it, we lost it straight away.
As you said before, this doesn't decide the title, but does it tip the balance now?
Well, today is a very difficult night, obviously, after the way we lost. But we have to stand up, look the bigger picture, and the fact that we are competing toe-to-toe with this team, it's incredible, to be fair. And we want to compete, and we're not going to give up. And it's 5 games to go in this league. Anything can happen. And I've seen a lot of things because I've been here more than 20 years. And you have to believe that tonight is difficult to do that. But we have to look in the mirror as well. We have to accept that we have lost against an exceptional team, and that's the level.
Well said. Thanks, Mikael.
Thank you.
A very difficult night, but there are, as he said, still games to be played.
Position maintenant. Alors que se passe-t-il? Le buteur Hakim Ziyech est resté au sol.